What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name is Nicole and I'm a person in recovery, and my sobriety date is July 13th, 2015. So you guys, we're going to talk about addiction versus dependence today because I have been going on a whole tirade over on TikTok and I just need to get it out in one video and be over and done with it. Okay, so you guys know that I've been completely open and honest about my journey being on Suboxone. Suboxone has saved my life and helped me very much so in my recovery. And I have been tapering and have gotten down to below 2 milligrams as of today. So I always like to share my journey because I want to encourage other people who have tried to get sober through abstinence and it hasn't worked to try something different. Because whenever I was trying to get sober, I was so against getting on Suboxone because the only way that I was ever taught to get sober was through abstinence. And so I was so closed off to trying anything different. And so therefore, I kept trying to do the same thing and kept getting the same results, which was relapse after relapse after relapse after relapse. And it wasn't until I got on maintenance medication and combined that with therapy and a recovery program that I was able to put together 5.5 years of sobriety without any relapses. And so I'm pretty fucking damn proud of that shit. So today I had saw a video and somebody was making fun of someone for being on Suboxone and saying that they were just addicted like they were when they first began and might as well still be doing heroin. Y'all know what they always say. And so I felt so bad for this girl because I remember what it felt like. I remember when I went on to TikTok and YouTube and Facebook when I first started my journey back in 2016. TikTok wasn't around then, but Facebook was around and YouTube. Back in 2016 when I first started sharing my story and I shared about being sober and utilizing maintenance medication, and you would have thought that I was like some crazy person talking up there. People made fun of me. People told me I wasn't in recovery. People told me that I shouldn't even be sharing my story. And that's when I came here to YouTube and started sharing my story here. And we have just got this huge, amazing community that supports all pathways to recovery, which I am so fucking proud of us. So when I see someone else going through what I went through and how I was picked on and how I was made to feel like I wasn't good enough to be in recovery and to be a part of the recovery community, I go hard. I stick up for those people, and because I don't want to lose them. Okay, if I hadn't been strong enough, I would have went and got off Suboxone when people made fun of me, and I would have relapsed. And I've had many friends who have done the same thing, gotten off Suboxone too early, were not ready, and they relapsed. And some of them are dead. Okay, some of them are dead. So the question came up, well, you're just addicted. You're addicted just like you were when you were on dope. And so I thought this was the perfect time to sit down and explain the difference between active addiction and dependence. All right? Okay, let's do this. So, okay, first let's talk about addiction. Okay, so addiction is characterized by the compulsive use of drugs or alcohol, even though you're experiencing negative consequences. Okay? Even though you're lying, you're cheating, you're stealing, you're selling your body, you are not present with your children, you are spending your hard-earned money on dope, you're lying to your family members, your husband, your wife, that is what addiction is. Addiction is the compulsive use of drugs combined with those negative consequences and negative behaviors. That's what addiction is. Okay? Dependence is taking a medication and your body physically needing it because your body becomes dependent on it. And if you are to be taken off of it abruptly, then you will go through withdrawal. Also with dependence, tolerance can come into key, especially for people that are on benzos and opiates, because when a person is prescribed these medications over a long period of time, they normally reach a tolerance and have to go up. And so that's dependence and that's addiction, okay? When a person like me is dependent on Suboxone and they are working a program of recovery and they are going to therapy and they have changed their old behaviors, because honey, when I was in active addiction, I didn't have a job. I didn't have custody of my son. I didn't have my own vehicle. I didn't have a roof over my head. I didn't have any self-respect or dignity. I would sell my body for drugs. I would do things that I'm not proud of to get substances. And I put myself in some really compromising situations. And those are the things that I did while I was an active drug addict. Today, independence on medication that I prescribe, Suboxone, Wellbutrin, and Lexapro, because I'm also dependent on my mental health medication. See, if I stop taking my medication abruptly for mental health, it is the worst withdrawal I've ever had. I tried to stop my Lexapro over a year ago, cold turkey, like a dumbass, and I thought I was going to die. It was worse than opiate withdrawal, and I'll never do it again. But does that mean I'm addicted to Lexapro? Is that what that means? Absolutely not. My body needs it to function, though. My brain needs it to function. So why aren't we looking at maintenance medication like we do medication for mental health? Because addiction is a mental health disorder. It's a brain disorder. And if Suboxone is helping me keep my addiction at bay and helping me stay on the right path, then why isn't Suboxone looked at the same way we look at psychiatric medications? You know, nobody would come up to me and say, hey, Nicole, you're not sober because you need those medications for your depression and anxiety, right? Right. Okay. So we have to look at the Suboxone the same way we look at our mental health medications, because addiction is a mental illness. And so that's what I'm trying to help people to understand. Addiction and dependence are not one and the same. Now, with dependency, addiction can come, right? We see it all the time with people who have been prescribed pain medications, and maybe something happens and their doctor retires and they get cut off their medication, and then they go out and they buy drugs off the street because their back was against a wall. But I also don't think that a lot of people who are on opiates who get cut off just automatically go to heroin and go to the streets. I think that, you know, a lot of people already have that disease of addiction in them before they ever went out and got heroin on the streets, okay? But like I was saying, they're not the same thing, okay? And to say that I am actively in my addiction while on maintenance medication it's wrong. It's wrong, and it's a disgrace, and I'm fucking offended. It makes me upset because I have literally turned my whole life around. And to be told that I'm still in active addiction because I'm dependent on a medication to help treat my addiction and mental health, I won't accept it. And I don't think any of you guys should accept it either. And yes, if you were to stop me abruptly on my Suboxone, I would absolutely go through withdrawal. But I'm in recovery today, and I wouldn't lose my shit. I would go and I would get help. I would call my doctor. I would do what I had to do to stay sober and to do the right thing. You know, just because a person will experience withdrawal when taken off a medication doesn't mean they're in active addiction. And there's people out there that believe this, that are working in the recovery field, that are interventionists, therapists, psychologists, counselors. It's a disgrace. And I can't even believe that people think that way. So I just wanted to come on here and share with you guys that there's a difference between addiction and dependency. And if I ever start acting out in my addiction and doing the stuff that I did while I was in my active addiction, I promise you guys, everybody will know the difference, because it's night and day. It's night and day compared to the person I am today. I'm a new woman. And so I just want you guys to know that if you're on maintenance medication, I support you 100%. I know what it feels like to be judged. It happens to me all the time, still to this day, even after all the fucking progress I've made, even though I work for the most amazing doctor in this side of the United States of America, all these things, right? I could do all these things and people still don't take me seriously because I'm utilizing maintenance medication. And so take that for what it is. If you're on maintenance and you think, oh, I want to help people, I want to do this, it might be better off for you to keep it to yourself. Keep that personal business to yourself, because I want you guys to be able to succeed. Love y'all.